We're back. All right, let's finish this stuff here. This is part 3 of the Ultimate Starship tier list, and we're going to be starting off this time with Pathfinder. This is like a Star Trek Online kind of sequel to the Intrepid class, Voyager I'm talking about. I don't like the way it kind of looks like Star Trek Online. The general configuration is okay, but you know the STO look. And it's got like kind of a notch in the front where it has either its primary or maybe a secondary deflector dish. I don't know. It's not really my thing. I kind of independently almost designed something like this already before this came out a long time ago. But I didn't like it then, and I don't really like it now. Here's Pathfinder. It gets by. It doesn't break a lot of rules. I'm putting it in D. It's a solid D, though. The packs. Oh, wait, I thought this tier list had no stations. This isn't really a station. In Star Trek Discovery Season 4, you actually see the thing fly. Like, it leaves, and it warps, and it detaches itself, and does a whole bunch of crazy stuff trying to save people from, what was it, the DMA? You know, that kind of strange big bad thing in that season where it's like kind of a big explodey stuff, you know, all very whole lot of hoopla around it. But the PAX operated like a starship, and I kind of want to call it a ship. It's the Federation headquarters in Star Trek season 3 and 4 in the future, 32nd, 31st century. I can't remember what it was right off the bat. Here it is, the PAX. Why does everything look like a seashell? Why does this look like, I don't know, a piece of rope that you frayed and twisted like that? I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't understand the necessity of the shapes. Like, the function doesn't, its form follows function, not function follows form, right? And these ships are kind of dangerously close of just being art pieces just for the point of it, I can't imagine why it's shaped like this. What that serves, it doesn't look like it has a lot of useful internal area. I don't know, so it's not really my thing, but it's unique. It's unique. So I'm putting it in C. It's got something going on. This is the Phoenix from First Contact. Apparently, this is the first warp flight, and it's not the Bonaventure that I learned about in like Star Trek chronology book over there. So depending on when you grew up, maybe you had a different first warp vessel, but when we got to Star Trek First Contact, we kind of like set forward this idea that no, it really starts here, and it starts with the Phoenix. And it's interesting that it's the general configuration of warp nacelles was around from the very beginning. That always kind of bothered me a little bit. It would have been cool if it warped in kind of a different way, kind of make it look like nacelles were something that came later. But nacelles, nope, they've been around since the very beginning. They're like the wheel, right? Can't reinvent the wheel. And the Phoenix is just a rocket with 2 nacelles. Not very inspired, but should it be? It's the 2060s. What are they realistically going to design? Probably a rocket with nacelles on it. So for that reason, I'm giving it a C. It works, It's interesting. It works. I'm not in love with it. This is the Phoenix from Star Trek Picard Season 3, the I'm Sorry ship. Picard Season 3 starts, and immediately they hit you with this really cool-looking Star Trek-y ship. Yeah, we're sorry about all those other seasons which didn't have anything really in it, Star Trek, apart from the Sagan class. But here's the Phoenix. It's new. It's cool. Looks like something from Star Trek. It's like an NX-01 Plus. But it's got kind of its own thing going on, too, and it's in the way it's shaped. It's got its own kind of interesting little configuration, the Helios, as it's called, but it's a Phoenix class, and I really like it. I'm going B. I wish I could get an Eagle Moss model of it. The Pioneer probe. I like this thing because it's kind of like a sphere, and spheres are cool. So we're kind of sputting with Sputnik today, and we're going to put it alongside Sputnik. But where did I put Sputnik? Oh no. I want to put it in C just because I like spheres. It's not exactly my sphere of the year, but it's pretty cool. Now that I can't find Sputnik right now, it's going to be like, oh, what's the problem? You You like Sputnik better, and it's not that. It's just that I can't find Sputnik. Sputnik, where are you? Where are you, Sput? Oh, he's there. Don't worry. The Pioneer. Another moment from season 3 of Picard is when you see this in the intro, and I'm crazy. Maybe you're not, but when I see certain things, I well up inside, and I almost want to cry when I see these things. Just the little nod, right? Giving the old people a chance, right? Not hiding stuff from TOS. And if you look at the Pioneer when it shows up on the display during the intro for Picard Season 3, the Pioneer has the spikes on the front of the Bassard collectors. Yes. Thank you. Just like in the Cage. They should have that. Ships at that time had that. Right? That's how we always imagined it. And that's how it is in the Pioneer. It's like a Constitution class diet. Hey guys, I know you can't have Constitution class because of your sugar diabetes. But can you drink Constitution class diet? Cool. A diet Constitution class. Don't mind if I do. And that's what the Pioneer is, and I love it. I like a small ship. I like the Constitution. I like the spikes and the Bassard collectors. So I want to put this one in A, actually. Very cool. It's kind of like it's got no secondary hull. It's got like a very small secondary hull and a forward dish directly attached to the bottom of the saucer, and the nacelles above the saucer attached directly into the back of it. It's very neat. The Prometheus. Oh, look, the long-range classified tactical cruiser thing, whatever it was. I believe the ship that first contacted planet Solum in Prodigy was a Prometheus, just from the image. It has like the multi-vector assault mode where it splits into 3 different ships, and it's all very crazy. And it's like take the Voyager, give it 4 nacelles, and kind of notch up the Sovereign classness just a little bit, just sovereign it up, and that's your Prometheus. So depending on how you feel about the Voyager configuration, how you feel about the Prometheus, how you feel about 4 nacelle ships, your mileage may vary. I don't love all those things, but it gets the job done, and I can see where people would love it. I'm putting it in C. The Protostar type. This is the Protostar type is a shuttle. We're calling it Protostar type. It's a type of shuttle that appeared on display, I think, on the Protostar. It all looks very futuristic, but that's in keeping with the Protostar's design. I prefer the like a more pared back kind of shuttle. I'm kind of in my mind, a shuttle should always kind of be like one generation behind the starship that carried it, if that makes sense. Like, do a kit patch, yes, of the parts that were on the larger starship that birthed it, but kind of like, okay, this isn't like that crazy, Like the Delta Flyer, for good reason though, looks newer than the Voyager. That makes sense in that one scenario, but for the Protostar type, maybe it's a little bit too flashy from what I see on the display, so I'm putting it in D. The Protostar itself, I love the general configuration. I love that we have a shuttle bay at the front, and then deflector dish, and then saucer. That's cool to me. It's unique, it's interesting, it fits its purpose, that it can land and then just ferry out a bunch of people from the bottom like that, right? It's built for purpose. But yes, it does sprout a new nacelle when it goes into the proto warp, which, I mean, you think about it, there's like a scientific kind of backing to that. Okay, we need another nacelle that's like a proto nacelle, right? And the more I thought about it, the more I kind of thought it was cool that it actually it has a variable geometry to it, kind of like the Voyager. Again, Prodigy echoes Voyager a lot, and it's deep into its DNA, and not for superficial reasons. But the Protostar, where's its impulse drive? I asked someone before, and I think they told me that it was at the back of the nacelles, which doesn't sound right to me. I can't find its impulse drive. I don't know. Is it really at the back of the nacelles? I don't like that. It doesn't really have the type of hull painting and livery you'd expect, which is, I mean, it's kind of experimental. I can excuse a lot of stuff if a ship is experimental. Um, but I mean, its general configuration is cool. I like that the nacelles aren't super long. That's a plus. I'm putting it in B. It's close to greatness. The nacelles look something out of Kelvin, and I don't know why. That's the biggest problem. Fix the nacelles, put on a real impulse drive, switch up the paint a bit, and you go to an A. The provider. This is another ship that appeared on a display, I think, in TNG that I have no understanding of. It exists only as a display. For what it's worth, I think this image, similar to the Lotus Flower, might not be an exact depiction that you would expect to translate into real life. Like, it could be at a weird angle. Maybe it's two ships docked together. I can't quite make out the shape. It looks aerodynamic. Maybe they're like aero shuttles. I don't know. I'm going to have to go with a safe D on that. Maybe it's cool, so we're going to call it a solid D. The Ptolemy is a Constitution class era cargo ship. It essentially has a big pod on the bottom that it carries with a like a Saladin / Hermes class dish coming out of the bottom of the saucer. It just carries that big load. And if you've been watching this tier maker list so far, I like ships that have a purpose. I like when they do something. It really grounds it in reality. And I like carrying stuff. So, Ptolemy, you're going in C. Thanks for everything you do, Ptolemy. The Radiant is a Constitution-style Titan. For Star Trek Picard Season 3, they created like a history of Titans, right? You know, we have the Titan from this era, and then the Luna class, and then like the Titan A one. The Radiant, though, I think is maybe the best of the bunch, just because I'm biased towards TOS. Again, I think it's like a 4 nacelle ship. It looks pretty slick. Amongst the 4 nacelle ships, this might be my favorite one. This one's a looker. I'm not big on the 4 nacelles, but this is the one I really want to make an excuse for. The Radiant's going in B. The Ranger probe, I mean, hey, you can't go wrong with the good probe, just as long as it ain't up your butt. This one's going in D. You're not as cool as the Pioneer probe. Not by a long shot, buddy. Because you got kind of a not spherical shape, I guess. The Raven is like a super shuttle. It's kind of like a Runabout Plus. We've seen it in multiple occasions, but never to huge fanfare. But it did appear in Star Trek Lower Decks in animated form. It is just take a runabout, make it bigger, make it longer, put 2 big nacelles on either side. There you go. It's nothing fancy. It does its job. But I'm not a big fan of this idea that the nacelles don't have line of sight. Remember, according to Gene Roddenberry and Andrew Probert, what they hashed out for TNG, nacelles should have at least 50% line of sight with each other. They need to react with each other. I don't think it's a great idea to put the hull and, crew compartment between the nacelles, like with the Raven. There's a miscommunication going on, leading to ships like the Raven. So you're going in D. The Reliant is like a sequel to the Miranda. Like we had Excelsior 2, we had Constitution 3. This is in the era of sequel classes. We also have the Reliant, named after a famous Miranda class ship. Famous for what? Bad stuff. But the Reliant is like a Star Trek Online / Picard Season 3 Miranda. And if you like saucers, you like nacelles directly below the saucer, you can't go wrong with a solid C with the Reliant. This is Archer's toy ship from the beginning of Star Trek Enterprise. I always like something that reminds us that we're astronauts, right, in this show. And I believe I mentioned something like that before. And if you look inside, you can really see actual astronauts flying this thing. I think with helmets and all. That's very cool to me. It looks kind of like the Aerospike, like the spiky, what was it? It's on here somewhere. The OV-165, something like that. Except they put nacelles on it. That's pretty cool. I imagine that the early days of Warp Flight would just be an old ship with nacelles stuck onto it, and for me, that makes the Archer's toy ship pretty neat. And one of the things that we set out when we started this tier maker video was that models that appear in the show will be assumed to be based on real things. We're going to assume that. So we're going to assume this is a real ship, and I'm putting it in B. Let's get up there. Let's get up in B there, Archer toy ship. Here's the Rigelian freighter. Yeah, you can actually put this ugly piece of garbage in a Federation only / Earth tier maker list. Why? Because Rigelians were described as being part of the Federation. This is their freighter. So this is probably registered as a Federation ship. And it may even be a Federation design, depending on when they designed it. But I think it's a redress of the Mondor. So in a very strange way, you can put a Pac-led ship in a Federation tier list. Very strange. But it looks hideous. It's just, we need a ship. Well, we can use the Mondor / Rigelian freighter / Merchantman / Antares. Okay, fire it in there, and then we'll just write into the script that it's something it's not. Fine and dandy. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. You're going in E. The Ross class is just a Galaxy class with Sovereign class parts switched into it. It's like a test bed for the Sovereign class era of machinery, and for that, I kind of don't like it. You take the Galaxy class, make it ugly, and call it the Ross class. I can't think of a single thing on this that's an improvement over the Galaxy class. It's just ugly. It's unseemly. And Sovereign class parts belong in the Sovereign class, not backwards onto the Galaxy class, even if it kind of makes logical sense. So Ross is going in D, but it's close to E. The Saber class, I didn't really like this at the beginning, but I kind of learned to like it. I do like a smaller ship. I do like an interesting configuration. The Saber is a irregular saucer with two nacelles buttressing either side at the far edge of the saucer, coming down like this, and then a middle section like this. So it's kind of like got this 3-pronged design. It's not bad. I wouldn't mind flying one myself. It's not the most beautiful thing in the world, but it's getting the job done. It's going in C. And yes, at the end of this, I will be rearranging this in order. That's going to take a long time, but I've budgeted time for that. The Sagan class is our new Stargazer. Picard walks onto it in Picard season 3, and it's like, oh, the older I get, the newer these refits are. I can't. Somebody explained to me what that line means. I couldn't understand it. The Sagan class is supposed to be like the new Constellation, and they call it a refit, even though it does not look like it's not a it's just, did you really refit the original Constellation into the Sagan class with the Stargazer? Did you really do that? I don't know. But the Sagan class, I'm not big on the 4 nacelle ships. This is one of the better ones. But again, with everything in Picard season 3, it has that backwards feeling. Everything kind of looks older than it really should be. These nacelles do not look as advanced as Sovereign class nacelles to me. That's a problem. But the Sagan class, for what it is pretty cool. I'm putting it in C. The Shangri-La, when the Titan A was first revealed, I just said, that's just the Shangri-La from Bill Krause. I was like, what the heck? You just stole it. And then I found out they kind of like have it with permission. And Shangri-La has been brought into like actual Star Trek canon. And then again, as the Titan A, when the Titan A would just go back to this design and steal it for your hero ship. I don't know. I don't work on the show, but Shangri-La is just like the Titan A, but better, because it makes more sense, because it's from an era it should be from. Does that make sense? So it has to be better than the Titan A. So logically, I have to find the Titan A on this tier list. Let me see. Did we get to it yet? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T. Okay. We did Constitution 3. So the Titan A would count as Constitution 3. So, it should be on here. Dang it. I'm blind. I'm blind. I'm putting it in B. Shangri-La should be in B. And just let's just for now hope that it's ahead of Constitution 3, because it should be. The Saladin, another cool TOS era one nacelle ship. It looks the part, it plays the part, it looks exactly like the Hermes. I'm not sure what the difference is, but I do enjoy a one nacelle ship despite it being insane. So Saladin's going in C. It's close to a B though. I don't know. It's a high C for me. The Salcombe, as it appears in the Kelvin timeline, we see this in the background kind of at like a dry dock, I think at Yorktown, and that's all we see of it. And they designed this entire ship to appear in the background of one brief moment of Star Trek Beyond, almost like it was going to play a part in Star Trek 4, but we're not getting that movie. I don't think that's coming out. When was Beyond? 2016? I don't think this is coming. I'm just being real with you right now. But the Salcombe, I did look at it more closely. I did see some graphics of it. It's not really my thing. It's got a lot of weird ideas. Like, it's got this shuttle bay on the bottom that's kind of cool, but the forward notch is a little bit ugly, and the deflector dish, the way it is at the bottom, it's too obstructed by the top of the saucer, and it looks ugly. So I'm going D, but good effort. The Sarajevo, this is allegedly an Earth ship in Star Trek Enterprise. I never would have guessed it. It does not look like humans built it. It's ugly. It looks like a yacht that they flew into space for some reason. It's got strange hull markings that don't feel right. It does not look like it was made by humans. Okay? That's what's wrong with the Sarajevo. It's irregular to the point where it looks like it doesn't fit in with anything. And I really never liked it as soon as I saw it. It's an E, but it's near in the F. SATCOM, satellite communications, I guess is what they mean. A satellite that just appeared briefly somewhere, SATCOM, and then there was some number, but I'm going to assume it's just SATCOM in general. It's got a lot of antenna. I like that. It's hairy. It's got little hair sticking out, unlike me. So I'm going to put you in D. The Saturn is another Discovery future era ship with tons of negative space. It's just a big ring with two nacelles sticking out of the back. Why do we keep doing this? Discovery ships, as they appeared in the TOS era, had lots of negative space in it. They had like empty area, and even the Strange New Worlds Enterprise has like an empty area in the nacelle pylons. And then it appears again 1,000 years later. We get to the Saturn, and it's just a big donut. Why would you? I don't know. What does it do? I wanna see what they do. Maybe season 5 we can show these ships doing something that necessitates the interesting shape, and I would be more down with it. But for right now, the Saturn is just a big ring with nothing in the middle and nothing to do in the middle. There's no big playground in there. You can't mess around in there. You're going E. The SC4, this is, I believe, like future Janeway's shuttle from the end of Voyager or something. Spoilers for Voyager. It's just a Sovereign era shuttle. I guess it's smart in that way. If they're designing a shuttle that was from the future, it would look like the Sovereign class. Good job. You actually thought about the way design language changes over time. Sometimes they don't do that. I'm putting it in C. The SD-103, sometimes called the Executive Shuttle. I think this was modified into the Sydney class for the episode Relics, like the ship that Scotty has. They just take the Executive Shuttle, I think, and just shove some Constitution class refit nacelles on it. But I've always been a big fan of the Executive Shuttle and the SD-103. It's just like a Type F or a Class F TOS shuttle, but with luxury. It's bigger, it's badder, and it's like, hey, you want to fly in style? I know you like the Class F, we all do, but do you want to fly in style? Here you go. And it's one of the best shuttles ever. It's going in B. That's a top tier shuttle along with the Class F. The Shango X1. Why does it only appear on a poster in the background. We're watching Star Trek. We're watching Star Trek. Picard Season 2 is Star Trek, right? Show the Shango. It's like the hero ship, kind of that season, and you don't go on board. You see a piddly little rocket go up, and I assume it's going to connect to the Shango, but I don't know for sure. Dang it. Shango, it looks really cool. I like a realistic ship from hundreds of years ago that it speaks to the technology of the time. It could have really elevated that season, but I gotta separate it from the season it's in. I gotta separate it from its surroundings and just look at the ship. And what you get is a basic, but basic in the way that science has to be type of ship, which I like. Long, constructed in orbit, lots of little greeblies hanging out of it, which would be, par for the course for the time. So Shango, I want to put it in C. If it had seen more, I feel like it would have gone higher, just because I would know more about it, not because not because of my personal feelings towards the season. But for now, it's going in a C. The Shepherd. It appeared in Discovery. It appears again in Picard Season 3. But does it really? I mean, all you're doing is taking a saucer and putting 2 nacelles on it at the top. It's such an eternal design for Starfleet that when it returns, you almost want to say, "Oh, look, it's a saucer with 2 nacelles. Whoop-de-doo." It's kind of like it didn't return because it's too simple. It's not interesting enough to just keep coming back. It's bland enough that you accidentally keep designing it. Like, whoops, I accidentally created the Shepherd class again. Oh well, let's go with it. It's such a good design. Stick 2 nacelles on top of a saucer. So, a real workhorse. You're going in C. The shuttle drone is a drone that appears in the background. I think that's flying around parts using a tractor beam. It's autonomous, I believe, according to the name. It appears at a few moments in TNG. It's just kind of a little blocky blob that just ferries things around. And, it's got a special place in my heart. The little guys that could. Shuttle drone, you're going in C. Where would we be without the shuttle drone to carry parts around inside space dock, Where would we be? The shuttle pod from Enterprise, it's pretty cool. I like the pared back technology for the time. It's in keeping with the style of Enterprise. I thought, like, by 2150 era, maybe it would still need to be a little bit more aerodynamic than that. Like, the wings are a little small. I'm not sure what they do on it, but you do get some aerodynamic control at high speeds, I imagine. For what it is, it's getting the job done. C. It's not my favorite. The Soliton Wave Rider, I think this appeared in TNG when someone was using, it was a test bed for an alternate propulsion method, hence Soliton Wave Rider. It just looks like a pared back secondary hull with 2 nacelles attached, and it's going to, test some new kind of propulsion. Hey, I like pushing the envelope. I like going fast. So we're putting it in C. The Sombra, you idiot. Sombra? What's that? Guys, it's the Constitution class. I don't know what happened behind the scenes at Strange New Worlds, but I think maybe originally in this draft it was a different ship and they couldn't figure it out and they just said, hey, throw a line in from Mbenga. It's made with the same parts as the Constitution class, even though it's a Sombra class, and it is identical to the Constitution class. Just call it a Constitution class. I know you probably didn't want to destroy a lot of Constitution class ships because there's this idea that there isn't a shitload of them, but the Constitution class, just call it a Constitution class. The U.S., what was it? The USS Peregrine. Again, a bland name that you see a lot. Sombra class. It has to go in the same tier as the Strange New Worlds Enterprise, even though it annoys me. So where is the where are you at? Yeah, it's in the same tier as Constitution, Strange New Worlds. So there you go. You got that out of me. The Sovereign class captain's yacht, which I think appeared in Insurrection. What else can you say about a little boat with 2 nacelles that looks kind of like the Sovereign class? It's very similar to the California class captain's yacht. I still don't really love it, but it gets the job done. So I want to say C, but the Sovereign classiness is like bringing it down to a D. You haven't figured out I'm not a huge fan of the Sovereign class. Speaking of Sovereign class is up next. Here's the Sovereign. People love this one, but to me, it's a step back from the Galaxy class. It's got too many greeblies on the surface. It looks needlessly aerodynamic. I'm not sure what that's about. It's getting spindly looking with the nacelle pylons. I think it's kind of a step down, and you're bringing the nacelles back on top above the saucer for some reason. I don't know, other than just to reference old Star Trek. Hey, unless they consulted Scotty on this design, because they brought him back from the past when he came out of that transporter. Scotty, what should we do for the new Enterprise? I know, make it look to the Constitution class. C. But I know a lot of people are gonna love it, and I can see what they love in it. The 1966 Soyuz. This is a storied capsule. This ship has delivered so many people to space. It's old, it's rustic, but it's reliable, and I'm proud of it for that. So we're putting it in C. Soyuz, you're doing a good job. It's an interesting design. It's kind of spherical. I like my spheres, and it's got some doodads on the outside too. That's always neat. The Soyuz. Guys, it's a Miranda class. It's a Miranda class. Why did they call it a Soyuz class in that one episode? It's a Miranda. A Miranda is a Miranda no matter what you put on the roll bar. But a Soyuz is a Soyuz even though it's just a Miranda? I don't know. So I'm going to put it in C. It has to go along with the Miranda. But forgive me if I can't quickly find the Miranda, because I am blind. The Space Shuttle, canonical and Enterprise, it appears on that wall painting. I think, doesn't Shran look at that and talk to Archer and he said, "Did you serve on all these vessels?" And you had, Enterprise Space Shuttle, I think, and then the boat, and then the ship, and it's all very cute. But, it's the Space Shuttle. I know a lot about the Space Shuttle program. It's essentially a plane modified to burn like a closed circuit of rocket fuel that came in an external tank. It also had solid rocket boosters, but that's its launch configuration. This tier list doesn't include rockets. The ship itself, it's a beautiful serpentine-looking white that reflects like a surface of a snake, which is what people said who actually flew it, which is very cool. It's like it has heat shields on the bottom. It's ready for re-entry, and it's very dangerous, but it's very cool. So I'm going to put it in C. I want to go B just because it's cool. I'm going B. You know what? We're going B for Space Shuttle. It's very neat. The Springfield is another ship that appeared in Wolf 359. And Wolf 359, a lot of very, very interesting ships kind of came out of that mess. And one of them was the Springfield. And it's possibly my favorite. I've always been a Springfield guy. Look it up. It's very cool. It's got it's like a Galaxy, like a smaller Galaxy class saucer, Galaxy class secondary hull directly below, and like swept back pylon Galaxy class nacelles. It's just an interesting design. It's just like a sleek Galaxy, but without going the Sovereign route. I always loved it. My eye was immediately attracted to it as soon as I saw the Wolf 359 ships. I'm a Springfield guy myself. I hope you are too. I'm putting it in A. Look up the Springfield class yourself. I'm sure you'll be impressed. Here's the Sputnik itself. You're going along with Pioneer just because I said it would. Sputnik is a little ball. It's the little ball that could. A very early, if not the first, wink wink, satellite around the planet Earth. Artificial satellite, that is. And it just let out a little beep, and when we picked it up on Earth, and we said, "Oh, isn't that cute?" It's the Sputnik. Look at it sputting around. Possibly the cutest ship in this tier list, and it's going in C, as you just saw me put it in. The Stamets is the type of shuttle that flies around in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I guess they don't call it the Class F. I guess it's the Stamets. Um, did they call it Stamets after Paul Stamets, who just went to the future, and then everything was classified or something? And then someone's gonna ask, like, "Oh, what's Stamets? Why is it named that?" "Oh, it's that thing with control, and then we had to send it to the future." Whoops. By the way, control isn't real. The Stamets class, I guess, is what they're calling the shuttle from Strange New Worlds. I'm not sure why, unless it's named after that Stamets. Wink, wink. It is sick. I've been in love with the shuttle as soon as I saw it. It's just a very, very souped up, cool looking Class F. It fits along perfectly with the Strange New Worlds Enterprise, so I gotta give it its due. I gotta put it in B. It's very cool. The Steam Runner, not really my thing. It's similar to an NX class, except the nacelles are embedded into the saucer. It's got that bar going between the nacelles at the back, which I think is kind of cool. It's kind of like the Helios, like the Phoenix class we saw in Picard season 3. It's not a bad little ship. You see it flying around, I think, in First Contact, fighting that Borg cube. Steam Runner, there's probably a reason we don't see it that much anymore. It's kind of an ugly duckling, but I'm ugly myself, so I feel in good company. You're going and see. The Sutherland, this is another kind of Star Trek Online style ship. I believe this one is a Star Trek Online kind of version of the Nebula. So we just take the Nebula and ugly it up. Let's just stick some weird hull livery on it and some other nonsense, and you get the Sutherland. So you're going in D. And I was never a huge fan of the Nebula anyway. Sorry everyone. Sorry Nebula heads out there. The Sydney, I already kind of briefly mentioned this in this tier video. It's just kind of like a very big executive shuttle with some other doodads on it and 2 nacelles. And I think this is the ship that Scotty shows up on in the episode Relics of TNG. If you had taken this ship and put the nacelles just a little higher, so they're not, cutting in its sidelong elevation with the body itself, and they had a better line of sight, that would really fix this. But for now, it's going in C. That would have been a D if the nacelles were higher. That would have been D. To me, that's sad. But you're going in C, Sydney. Sorry about that. The Takayama from Kelvin. This is another souped-up Class F style shuttle that you see in the Kelvin timeline. You see them walk into it. It's huge. It's like a bus, but it conforms generally to the Class F configuration, and for that, I'm happy for it. So I'm putting it in C. You can't go wrong with the Class F style configuration, no matter the timeline. The Texas class is an automated ship that becomes kind of, spoilers, the big bad in a sense for Star Trek Lower Deck season 3. It was disappointing to me to see a ship fail. I don't like destroying ships, enemy or otherwise. I just don't want to see it. I don't like ships getting canned. I don't like ships not getting a chance. The Texas class is kind of like introduced and then immediately slam dunked on by the California class because the California class can do it better because there's people on it. Well, the Texas class tries to perform its duties less than admirably for reasons that I won't spoil. It is automated, but it's kind of a cool configuration, but it's very plain. It's very plain, but plain is good because plain sometimes means, it's built for purpose, as in form follows function. I like that. You're going in C, but I'd call it a high C. The Tikov, this appears in Star Trek Picard season 3, maybe, I think. It's the seed vault. I think it's a Federation seed vault. And it looks kind of like a seed in itself. Kind of neat. It's just an organic kind of shaped ship that I guess is there to store materials in case of bad times. When we need them seeds and we need them plants, we need to make the apples and we can't make them out of our own poop. Right, Admiral Vance? The Tikov. You're going in D just because, there's nothing to write home about. You just look at it and there's just nothing. Wow, I'm looking at nothing. But you do a good job. So you're getting this is a high D. The travel pod from 2401. It's the ship that I think Picard and Riker fly in to when they first go on board the Titan A. Um, what more can be said? It's a dim-looking, ugly version of the travel pod from version, you could say. What a travel pod is a travel pod is a travel pod. It takes people from space, an area in space, to another area in space. What's there to be said other than its immediate aesthetics? And it does fit in the Picard era, which means it's splotchy, dark, and you can barely see it. So that's going in D. But the travel pod, for everything I just said, except it's bright, vibrant, and attractive, is going in C. The one from the motion picture where you, even in this image, I think you can see Scotty and Kirk flying towards the Enterprise in it. The Trill transport vessel is like a pared back, simple transport vessel that appears to have some kind of like circular indentation on the top, not unlike the Defiant for some reason, if I can make that connection. In my original configuration of this tier list, I considered it a Federation vessel. It looks kind of cool. It looks like a useful model. It looks like it could play any other ship. Isn't that cool? But that also kind of makes it unoriginal, which makes it in the Tug. This is a ship that you see like for one moment towing the Excelsior class USS Fredrickson. It's got this off color. It's kind of ugly. It looks like it has Bassard collectors. And it's a real workhorse, you know. I like a ship that gets the job done. Tug is going in D because of its hideous color scheme. Get that color scheme better, and maybe you'd be doing. Maybe you could do a low C, Tug, just from one person to another, buddy. Get the color scheme going. The Type 4. What the heck is this? Type 11. How did I read that as 4? Am I crazy? Oh my dear God. Look at the types we have to go through. Look at it. Look, type. The Type 11 shuttle is a hilariously sleek-looking shuttle from the Sovereign era. If I designed a shuttle and they said make it look fast, I would design this thing in 5 minutes. It's not very interesting. It's slick, too slick. You're going in D. Type 14. This is another shuttle that's kind of like using the cells that kind of are in keeping with the starship that birthed it. It is the shuttle that docks with the Helios at the beginning of Picard Season 3. You know, I think it has Picard and Riker on board, I think. It is what it is. It's shiny, it's metallic, it fits in with Picard. I don't really like it. Here we go, buddy. Here we go. This is the Type 15. This is possibly my favorite shuttle. Look at this little piece of ship. Oh my God, it's hideous. It has the pencil nacelles. I've been calling them pencil nacelles since I was a kid. The nacelles that just look like you're supposed to just break them off and you're supposed to start writing with them. They're the shape of a pencil. It's so blocky. It's so hideous. It's so ugly. I freaking love it. It's going in B. I don't care what anyone says. I want one for myself. I just want everyone to turn their heads when they see me flying by and say, what in the name of God is that thing? It's the Type 15, baby. The Type 18, I can barely see it. What in the world is that? The Type 18 shuttle is like a large shuttle that's wider at the bottom than at the top, so it has an irregular and unique shape. I think this shuttle may have played multiple ships. I think the model has played multiple ships, if I remember correctly. It goes like this, and then goes like flat out like that. I have a feeling it's appeared in a matte painting. Maybe I can't remember exactly. I feel like it's a background element for some things. But the Type 18, for what it is, it's large, it's in charge, and it's in C. The Type 6 is kind of like a standard shuttle that it seems like a lot of other shuttles are based on. When you have nacelles at the bottom, kind of a curvilinear but blocky enough main hull, and then the ears. You know, the ears that come out of the back like this, and then have like a fan blade kind of structure in the middle, whatever that means. You would see that design element appear on many other shuttles. So it's setting the framework for newer shuttles, which means it must be doing something good, So you're going in C. The Type 6A. It's the Type 6, but with an A. Actually, it's a Type 6A animated. Maybe the A means animated. Star Trek Lower Decks uses this shuttle, and it's just the Type 6, ears and all, with a few little minor differences, as in, I think the window is bigger, and it's like a brighter color scheme. I like it more than the Type 6, but not enough to go into a higher tier. The Type 7, this is the one that you see mainly in Star Trek Next Generation. This is, in my mind, this is the one that came with the Galaxy class, because it looks like the Galaxy class. And there's multiple different configurations. I like the Skin of Evil version. In that episode, that this Type 7 shuttle appears with a few differences. The only weird thing is that it looks like you can't see out of the front, but maybe there's a screen in there. The way the windows go like this, and then kind of notch down like that. But I love the wraparound window idea. It's very sleek, it's very cool, it's very Galaxy. So it's going in B. But it used to be my absolute favorite. But now, I don't know. The Type 8 is the Type 6 with a few minor differences. It's got some different glowy bits. But glowy doesn't always mean better. But it's not enough to go lower than the Type 6 or Type 6A. As you can see, my point was proven right. The Type 6 set the standard for a lot of ships. Although we did see some of these things, I believe, in the Galileo type. The UFP-02, this is just a standard designation because we don't know its actual name for the shuttlecraft from the 31st/2nd, whatever it is, century from the recent seasons of Star Trek Discovery, and I hate it. It's poor. The inside of it looks cheap. How did you make the future look cheap? I don't know. But when they touch the control panel, you can see the whole panel move. Like it looks plasticky, it looks cheap. It looks like it's designed on a budget, which is not what you want for Star Trek. I mean, expensive does not equal better, but neither does cheap. Cheap doesn't equal better on its own either. Cheap and good writing is good, but cheap and bad writing is rancid. It's bubonic. And this shuttle, it's not. It ain't it. This ain't it. It's not the shuttle you want. The ultraviolet satellite, I think this was used in an episode of TOS to destroy airborne parasites or something, if my memory serves. And it's just kind of like a satellite that the Constitution class deploys, I believe, that just has multiple fins around it. It glows red. Red's cool. You're going in D. The Universe class, I consider it to be canon. When I design ships, I design them so that they can lead to the Universe class. You don't always see that in the actual show. Am I better than they are? The Titan Prize, the Enterprise G, does that really look like it can lead to the Universe class? I don't know. But when I design ships, when I imagine the G, or the H, or the I, they're looking more and more like the Universe class. You know how technology tends to go in that direction. I considered it canon. Nobody likes it. I don't love it. But see, I'm someone that considers that the canon design language to be important, and I know that art is a discipline. It's not about what you can get away with. It's about what you can do inside the rules. It's about what you can resist from doing. It's about how you pare yourself back to make something that seems common sense. And it seems like recently Star Trek is trying to like forget about the Universe class or something. Like, oh, well, don't worry, it doesn't have to link up to the Universe class. Maybe I'm crazy and I'm reading too much into it. I don't love the Universe class, but I respect its position in the timeline. It did recently appear with a slight redesign as a CGI graphic at a certain conference that I watched. I can't remember the name of, but it was very interesting. It kind of posited this idea that the surface is translucent in a way, and you actually have like a whole country living inside that saucer section, which is very intriguing to me, and it really boosts up the cool factor of the Universe class. Given that that's canon, I'm putting it in C, but hey, maybe you can boost me to a B if you keep showing me more stuff that looks canon. The Vostok 1, a very, very early manned spacecraft. Indeed, the first manned spacecraft from Earth. Good old Yuri Gagarin flew that thing around. It is similar in construction to a Soyuz, but with a larger aft section. So, doesn't have the storied history of Soyuz, but hey, being first past the gate is a big factor in greatness, I'd say. So you're going and see the Voyager probe. Spoilers for the motion picture, but the Voyager probe returns wanting to meet its maker, morphed by alien technology. Who knows? Is it related to the Borg? I don't know if that fan theory is right, but Voyager was a probe sent out by Earth a long, long time ago, going very, very slow. Maybe it went into a wormhole. Who knows? It's just a big dish. You like a big dish? Dishes are cool. You can put soup in it or other foods and you can eat out of it. So the dish shape, it's one of the top shapes, if we're being honest. So Voyager is going and see the Walker class, not the Lancelot class. The Walker class is the first ship I saw, I think, from Star Trek Discovery back in the day. We all kind of thought that was the Discovery for a moment. When I think it was leaked or something. We're like, is that the Discovery? Really? It's kind of different. It's got its bridge on the bottom. I guess it's possible. I mean, why not? You can put your bridge on the bottom. It's got a kind of an angular, weird-shaped deflector on the top. Tuna cells on the bottom. The configuration, just based on that, is not unique, but the small details are. That's kind of cool, but it doesn't look like anything from TOS. The uniforms that came with it, too, when we first saw the ship and we first saw its uniforms, we were like, oh no, oh dear. This doesn't look anything like TOS. What the hell? It's like 10 years from TOS. Uh-oh. But the Walker class, for what it is, I don't mind it on its own. Like, it's kind of cool. It's kind of got some interesting things going on. It's a little bit too flashy for me, so it's going and see. The Wallenberg is just like the new I just did it. The new Ptolemy. You know, I say Ptolemy as a joke, and then it comes back for real, right? First it's a joke, and then it happens in earnest. The Wallenberg is a Picard season era Ptolemy. It just carries stuff. And you can see in this little image, it's just a pared back saucer with all of its pie slices taken out, just the impulse drive area, tuna cells, and a section for loading a cargo bin. And this bin was supposed to be used to carry Romulan refugees, Romugees, if you will. And you know how that went if you watched Picard Season 1. Don't. But the Wallenberg is going and see. The Warp Delta, this is, it kind of, Romulus didn't design this, believe me, but it's a single, like, angular lifting body, an aerodynamic body, suggesting age, with tuna cells strapped to either side. And no, it's not the Emmet, it's the Warp Delta. They're different. The Emmet is the one that appears at the beginning of Star Trek Enterprise intro. The Warp Delta, I think, probably should have replaced the Sarajevo. I didn't want to see the Sarajevo. The Warp Delta is a huge improvement. I'm going C. The Wave Rider is, I think this is the Aero Shuttle that's on the bottom of the Nova class USS Equinox. I got it. That's what it is. It's what is the Nova version of the Aero Shuttle, as in something that's attached to the bottom of the saucer that we never actually see in action. I don't think we see this in action in Equinox and Voyager, do we? Maybe we'll have to go back and check. The Wave Rider is just it's not the captain's yacht attached to the bottom of the shuttle. It's a useful vessel. It's for utility. It is the Wave Rider, and it probably is going to perform similar to the Aero Shuttle. Hey, we're designing the shuttle. Just kind of draw in a little thing on the bottom that looks like a ship could come out of it. I don't know. Maybe we'll use it. Maybe we won't. That's Wave Rider. But where is the Aero Shuttle? Oh dear. Oh dear. We're putting it in C to be safe. C is getting really big, which makes logical sense. This is like, as it goes on, it's forming a regular bell curve. As you can see, the middle letters are big, and the far bad side and the far good side are small. That's about what you want. That's average. The Wells is the time ship USS Relativity that appears. The recurring character, I believe, Braxton and co. One of them appears again in Picard Season 2 as a detective, interestingly. The Wells, I praise it for looking almost like something from the Federation. It's riding the line. It's got some interesting uniforms, interesting kind of design ideas with these orbs embedded into the hull. It's got a blended design, wings, and its own primary hull. It looks aerodynamic, which maybe shouldn't. It's got this interesting kind of blue-green pearlescent color to it that kind of changes as you look at it. That's very neat. I'm putting it in C, but it's a good C. The Wharfen, there's 2 Elorian vessels getting caught up by the Nexus, and they're both Wharfen class or whatever, and one of them's called Robert Fox. Really? Is this a Federation ship or not? This is another one of the ships where I spent forever pounding my head against the wall trying to figure out if it actually counted as a Federation ship. I eventually decided to put it in this list, but I don't know. I'm not sure. There seemed to be a little bit of a back and forth about it online. The Wharfen, it's going in D. It's ugly. It's something. It is what it is. Oh my God, the work bee, the little yellow guy. I love it. I can't get enough of this guy. I squeal when I see him. The little yellow work bee. You're going in B. He's so cool. Just give me the work bee. Give me the work bee. Duct tape some nacelles on, and I'm good. But the worker bee, the uglier older cousin from Discovery, it kind of takes the work bee and removes the cute factor. So it's going in D. It's silver, it's shiny, it has the manipulator arms, but it's not nearly as cool as the little yellow guy who's going in B. Sorry, worker B, you're not as good as work B. Oh dear. This is the Wormhole Relay Station. I think it was a joint production from the Federation Bajor, and I even want to say Cardassia, I'm not sure, but it's meant to increase communications between both ends of the wormhole, and it's just kind of like a big flat disc with some saucer stuff in the middle of the section, and it's going in D because it's just kind of a big construction that I don't care about. The X-15, another ship that appeared on Admiral Marcus's desk from Star Trek Into Darkness. Don't love the movie, but I love the plane. And yes, it goes to space. It goes up high enough that it experiences loss of atmosphere. So it has to take its own atmosphere. I consider it a spaceship. Barely. Just barely. I think will leave the atmosphere. It's very, 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 very fast for a plane. It's very dangerous. Remember, you're going to need a top pilot to fly that thing. So we're putting it in C. Almost B, though. Next is the X-30. What is it with ships appearing on people's desks? This one appears on Jellicoe's desk, I believe. The X-30 was an early concept. I'm taking it for granted that models that appear in Star Trek were real. The X-30 was going to be a kind of like a, I don't know if it was a single stage to orbit or 2 stage to orbit, aerodynamic lifting body ship, as in a space plane, if you will. But it looks very cool. Look it up for yourself. The X-30, the Rockwell X-30. I think it's cooler than Spiky, the Aerospike guy. I'm going to put this thing all the way in B. Again, OV-165 was also in that same tier, but it's not cool enough to go in A. But I love the X-30. I love its livery that it has. I love its design. I love it's so enterprising, if you'll excuse that. The XCV-330. This was also called Enterprise. It appears in the background of Star Trek: The Motion Picture when they go to the rec room, I think, and they have paintings of previous ships there. It's the Ring ship. My headcanon for this was that there was a moment in Earth history where we were trying to mimic Vulcan design and failed, and we scrapped it. And this was like an early experiment in like an annular ring style warp configuration. There's some history behind it with Star Trek itself behind the scenes I'm not going to get into, but it is considered an Enterprise. XCV330. I always really liked it. I'm a liker of it. I almost bought an XL model of it. It's almost A, but it's going in B. It just doesn't look like it has a lot of useful internal area. Like, where's the crew? I don't know. It's just... When your propulsive mechanism is large, it makes the ship look old, because it makes it look weak, which can be cool if it's in the right era. So we'll put it that way. The Y-Class is another one of those vessels from Enterprise that was kind of like in the boomer generation. If you watch Enterprise, you know what I mean. They have space boomers, like the original fleet of cargo ships bravely venturing forth into space on their own with the early warp cargo vessels, and people born on those ships were called boomers. The Y-Class is amongst them. It's just a big train, baby. You have the warpy bits at the front and cargo pods at the back, and it's all very brown and it's very hideous. And they get up to some shenanigans in Enterprise. I like a worker, and I'm going in C. The Jaeger, considered by many to be the ugliest ship from Starfleet. It's the Intrepid saucer married hideously to a Maquis Raider, I believe. The unholy union of a Maquis Raider and an Intrepid saucer jammed together. Two totally different universes of design language come together to make something that looks absolutely hideous, but it's far from the most ugly thing ever. But when you see it, it makes you go, This is a ship that makes you go, It's going in E. Some people would put this in F, but I'm going E. This is the Yellowstone. This is an upgraded version of the Danube class, or is it Danube? It's just a runabout. It looks really no different. Tuna cells on either side. Standard runabout, blocky, shuttle-like hull. What's more to say? It's going in C. And with that, I have finished the ultimate Starship/Ship Federation/Earth tier list. I did it. I didn't die. I did it myself. We did it our way. Most importantly, we did it our way. There's the tier list. As you can see, S-Class is Centaur, Constitution, Daedalus, and Galaxy. F is just the Dresselhaus. And ignore that bottom one. That was a mistake. It's not supposed to be there. I'll be bouncing right back to you with another video that's just going to be short, and it's going to show you how I line these up one by one in order. That's right. I'm going to be finding the best ship ever in Star Trek. So stay tuned. I'm Lieutenant Mark, and I'm going to see you when next time I see you. So I'm signing out. Goodbye.